Got it, okay.
Okay, I have a couple thoughts on that, where I may actually answer the question. So this goes back to your terrifying point about miscalculation or mistake. So I think that the mistake is where the real threat lies. People at this table may remember in November, the UK gave, and I'm talking about the Ukraine-Russia conflict right now, the UK gave the Storm Shadow to Ukraine. We gave the ATACMS, these are systems, like missile systems essentially, to be able to, go further into Russia allow Ukraine to fire further into Russia. And Russia was pissed off. And in response, they fired an intermediate range ballistic missile capable of carrying a nuclear warhead, okay? This is the first time in history that a ballistic missile was used in this kind of a kinetic war, a hot war. And I was on an airplane leaving London and I went, oh my God, is this that situation where I'm not gonna land because there's a nuclear war? Because that is precisely the kind of thing I write in Nuclear War, a scenario where something's launched and the United States, because we have a launch on warning policy, launches before it lands because we're not willing to wait to see what was in that warhead. Now, what was in the warhead was nothing. The Russians launched an inter-range ballistic missile into Ukraine with nothing in the warhead. Why? I mean, this is so terrifying. Well, we learned later when Lavrov went on television, he said that he had notified his American counterparts in advance. I was taken to the State Department to see where that advance notice came into. And it's called the NERC, the National Nuclear Security Center in the State Department. I'm messing up the name, but it's known as the NERC. It's inside the State Department, and it's basically, hello, we're not at war room, meaning every 90 seconds you hear bing, 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 and that's all you hear. And I was with the Assistant Secretary of State who said, Annie, that's the Russians telling us we're not at war. And she explained to me that Lavrov,
who's the Russian foreign minister,
the Russian foreign minister, when he said on TV, which went over everybody's head, including mine, oh, we notified our American counterparts. What did that mean? Well, what Mallory Stewart, the Assistant Secretary of State, told me was what it meant was that Lavrov rang up the NERC and said, we're launching, and it doesn't have a nuclear warhead in it.
That was such a big deal. And I don't think the average person understands how big a deal that was. I think it was called the Oreshnik.
It was called the Oreshnik.
The Oreshnik was the newest, most modern version of an ICBM, intermediate ballistic missile, IMBM, that the Russian inventory had. We had never seen it deployed. It's never been seen before. And it reminded the whole fucking world, you do not want to go down this road. A ballistic missile is a terrifying, terrifying tool.
Why?
It launches into the atmosphere where it splits into three parts. The rocket, the booster, and then what's known as a MIRV. Almost like imagine a revolver, take out the piece that holds the bullets of a revolver, and it's called a multiple independently targeted reentry vehicle, MIRV. A warhead sits in each one of those canisters of the revolver, and then it on its own can move in space and then drop warheads in different trajectories. And then those warheads, as they come down from space, not propelled, as they just fall from space, they reach speeds between Mach 2 and Mach 20.